Hi there, and welcome to Week 1, Lecture 2. What has research into mindfulness demonstrated? In the last lecture, we began to explore what exactly mindfulness is and what being mindful is, and how it's being applied both positively and negatively in various educational settings. In this lecture, we also look a little deeper into mindfulness through the efforts of Jon Kabat-Zinn and the scientific research that has accumulated over the years. So why is mindfulness so popular in Western culture? Well, to answer that question, it really is largely due to the groundbreaking efforts of an American scientist named Jon Kabat-Zinn and his passion for Buddhist philosophy. Kabat-Zinn could easily be called the father of the mindfulness movement in Western culture. While we gave a description in the last lecture of how he describes mindfulness, he also has many descriptions of how he would describe the practice of mindfulness, which includes mindfulness being a meditational practice of non-judgmentally, purposefully paying attention to the mind, body, breath, and environment with conscious intent of awareness of the present moment, rather than allowing the brain to operate through its default mode where thoughts are wandering all over the place. According to Kabat-Zinn, this default mode is the natural setting of the brain due to the evolutionary survival system known as the approach and avoidance motivational network. That is, the frontal regions of the left hemisphere of the brain are orientated to be approach related for food or pleasure, and they're positively reinforced. While the other side of the brain, on the right hemisphere, this part of the brain is wired for avoidance or flight mode. It's for to protect ourselves from danger or punishment, and is developed through a lot of negative reinforcements. So you've got this double-sided brain with these opposing thoughts. And this has allowed us to evolve, to enjoy life and stay safe. But in doing so, because we've had so much grey matter develop, we have such a big brains being human beings, it's causing a constant flow of thinking. In our modern society, where life is extraordinarily busy for people, even for children, and everyone is starting to feel time pressure like never before, while also feeling so many things are out of their control, we must learn to master our own minds for the sake of our own well-being. Although to many of us it may seem as if mindfulness training has sprung up only recently in Western culture, Kabat-Zinn has spent over 30 years of his life implementing mindfulness training into the scientific community of Western psychology as a way to improve well-being. He's established the Center for Mindfulness in association with the Department of Medicine in America, and he launched his intensive mindfulness training program known as Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, MBSR. And through this program, mindfulness training has received plenty of attention in the scientific community of psychology. And since then, the Western culture, due to the increasing scientific evidence supporting its practice for reducing stress, anxiety, and other health-related illnesses, as well as cultivating better ways of thinking and being. For example, studies have reported that mindfulness training can successfully reduce several mental and physical disorders, such as stress and anxiety, depression, bereavement, sleep problems, skin disorders, and even pain. Furthermore, research has found that loving kindness meditation, which is part of the MBSR training program that Kabat-Zinn created, has demonstrated a positive effect on increasing feelings of social connectedness and a decrease in stress-related disorders. Additionally, several longitudinal studies have further shown that meditating can produce long-term reduction of both mental and physical symptoms. Studies have also shown that long-term meditation can even affect the mind and body at a cellular level by reducing certain pro-inflammatory genes to alter basic proteins. This kind of research shows just how powerful mind training can be. And to express this in simple terms, it's saying that when children meditate, they can even reduce eczema. So it's a cellular change, a physiological reaction. Okay, so research has also shown that mindfulness training can reduce emotional reactivity, which is excellent for young children to learn. Learning the various mindfulness techniques also produces significant improvement in increasing attention and learning. Additionally, acquiring mindfulness skills improves relationships and also satisfaction one feels from having those relationships. And it enhances self-compassion, particularly when there's loving kindness meditations involved. And it improves just the general psychological well-being. Moreover, research has also found that applying our mindfulness skills can increase positive mood that leads to a more positive view of the self, the world, and the future. So overall, the evidence is abundantly clear that practicing mindfulness with meditation improves mental functioning and overall well-being. Therefore, teaching mindfulness to young children is a wonderful way to socialize them and prepare them for school or for life in general, while also equipping them with a powerful tool to govern their own well-being across the lifespan. However, as we discussed in the last lecture, it's very important that we make sure that children enjoy their mindfulness practice. Okay, hopefully you have a much deeper understanding of the research into mindfulness training and how mindfulness has spread into Western culture. And it's important to remember that research has clearly shown that the mindfulness training program works when it includes loving kindness meditations. Since loving kindness meditation and gratitude meditations actually help change any negative thinking patterns, which can become the core beliefs and therefore become very problematic for adults trying to practice mindfulness. Because mindfulness is only a technique of using the breath to help you stay in the present moment while you continuously allowing any thoughts to non-judgmentally pass through. And these thoughts can be quite constant. So if they're negative the majority of the time, you need to fix that problem. And that's what loving kindness and gratitude meditation does do in time. Okay, so an example is I had an adult drop out of a mindfulness training course because she realized that her thinking patterns were so negative that practicing mindfulness was making her feel worse, because all these negative thoughts were being highlighted in her mind when she took the time out to practice her daily exercises. and she found it extremely difficult to emotionally or cognitively detach from so many overwhelming negative thoughts. It was just too much for her. And what she really needed was to learn to meditate with loving kindness and gratitude in order to change the negative core beliefs that were producing this constant stream of depressing or anxious thinking modes. Okay, so in saying that, if you yourself begin to experience that practicing mindfulness training is resulting in increasing feelings of stress or depression within yourself, then please discontinue with the practice and seek out professional counseling. But please feel free to continue with the rest of the course modules and also completing the loving kindness and gratitude meditations. Okay, so that's a wrap for this lecture. Please do contact me if you do feel that you may be experiencing increased anxiety and stress, and I can help you connect with the right parties to get you some counseling. And also continue with the quiz and then move on to your first practical exercise. And of course, as usual, I have added the additional support below that is highly recommended. See you in the next lecture.